If you're a Capricorn, stop for a second. Not later, not after this video, now. Because what's happening to you right now, the weight you've been carrying, the silence you've been living in, the strange shift you've been feeling in your spirit, none of it is random. There's a moment that exists outside of time. It doesn't show up on calendars. It isn't announced. You can't schedule it. You can't predict it. And you definitely can't force it. But when it arrives, when God finally decides you've waited long enough, everything changes. Not slowly, not gradually, instantly. And if you've been waiting for something, anything, for what feels like forever, then what I'm about to say is not new information to your mind. It's confirmation to your spirit. Because something is different now. You've felt it. You wake up with it. You carry it in your chest. You sense it in quiet moments when nobody's around. Something shifted. And you may not have language for it yet, but you feel the movement. I'm Jeff Zodiac, and I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to explain what you're living through, because Capricorn souls don't need hype. They need interpretation. You've already endured the hard part. What you need now is clarity. So let me pull the curtain back for a moment. Let me show you how God operates with Capricorn souls specifically. How he measures your weight, how he determines when enough is enough, and what happens the exact moment he makes that decision. Before we go deeper, I want you to do something symbolic. Drop your birth date in the comments. Not for me, for you. Because if this video found you today, you didn't search for it by accident. You were aligned to hear this now. And years from now, when everything I'm about to describe has manifested, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember when the shift was first spoken aloud. Let me tell you something that will change how you see your entire life timeline. The moment God decides you've waited long enough isn't a date. It's not your birthday. It's not January 1st. It's not an eclipse or transit. It's a threshold. An invisible line you cross internally, long before anything external changes. It's the moment you become capable of holding what you've been asking for. Because God doesn't release blessings based on desire. He releases them based on capacity. And Capricorn, capacity takes time to build. That threshold forms quietly, not when life is easy, but when you endure what should have broken you and somehow you remain standing. Think about it. How many times did you almost give up but didn't? How many nights did you sit in silence, staring at the ceiling, asking yourself how much longer you could endure? How many mornings did you wake up heavy but still showed up for life anyway? Nobody applauded those moments, but heaven documented them, because God doesn't measure your weight in years. He measures it in endurance. He measures it in restraint, integrity, invisible discipline. He measures how you treated people when nobody was watching. He measures whether you stayed kind when bitterness would have been easier. He measures whether you maintained your character when compromise would have accelerated your success. And Capricorn, you were tested in all of it. Let's talk about the part nobody sees. Because Capricorn suffering is rarely loud. It's functional. You keep working, keep helping, keep providing, keep holding everything together while quietly collapsing inside. You became the strong one so early, you forgot what it felt like to be held yourself. People leaned on you emotionally, financially, strategically. And somewhere along the way, you realized something painful. You were everyone's support system, but nobody was yours. You carried responsibilities that weren't yours to begin with, family weight, financial pressure, emotional labor, and still you endured. Not because you wanted to, because you had to. And God saw that too. He saw the silent sacrifices, the opportunities you declined so others could survive, the dreams you delayed so stability could be maintained. You thought you were falling behind, but you were being reinforced. There's a difference. Delayed means forgotten. Reinforced means strengthened under pressure. And Capricorn, you were never delayed. You were reinforced. Now let's go deeper into why your path specifically required more waiting. Your ruling force is Saturn, and Saturn does not operate on emotional timelines. Saturn operates on structural readiness. Saturn governs time, discipline, karma, earned reward. It doesn't give prematurely. It builds foundations first, because blessings without structure become burdens. Have you ever noticed something? People who get things easily lose them easily. Quick wins create fragile identities. Fast success builds unstable empires. That was never your path. Your path was sustainability, longevity, legacy. Saturn makes sure that when success finally reaches you, it stays. When love finally arrives, it's stable. When money flows, it multiplies instead of disappears. So yes, your wait was longer, but it wasn't punishment. It was architectural work happening beneath the surface. While you thought heaven was silent, it was observant. God was measuring specific things during your wait, not your words, your reactions. He watched how many times you almost quit but didn't. Every time exhaustion hit and you still moved forward, it counted. He watched how you handled betrayal. Did you become bitter or wiser? Did pain harden you or deepen you? He watched whether you stayed ethical when nobody would have blamed you for cutting corners. He watched how you treated people who couldn't benefit you. Waiters, strangers, employees, family members who couldn't repay you. Because character is revealed in unequal exchanges. He documented every time you gave while struggling, encouraged while broken, showed up while empty. Those moments weighed more than any public achievement. And he watched your faith during silence, when prayers felt unanswered, when doors stayed closed, when heaven felt distant. Did you still believe? Did you still trust? Did you still move forward without confirmation? That was the final measurement. And if you're watching this now, it means the measurement phase is ending. Because here's what happens. Right before God decides the wait is over, you change internally first, not externally, internally. You get tired, but not normal tired, soul tired. Sleep doesn't fix it, rest doesn't remove it. It's the exhaustion of carrying roles that were never meant to be permanent. And that exhaustion isn't weakness, it's transition. It's the moment right before God removes the weight from your shoulders. Because what's coming next doesn't require you to carry, it requires you to receive. There's something I need you to pay attention to now. Because when God decides the waiting period is ending, He doesn't announce it with words. He announces it with shifts, subtle ones at first, then undeniable. And Capricorn, these signs don't show up in your environment first. They show up inside you. That's how you know it's divine timing, not wishful thinking. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you felt detached lately? Not depressed, detached. Like you're still present but no longer entangled. People who used to drain you emotionally, you don't feel anger toward them anymore. You don't feel pain either. You just feel distance. They text, you respond hours later. They call, you don't feel urgency to answer. They vent, you listen, but it no longer penetrates your energy. You're not being cold, you're being repositioned. Because when God is about to elevate you, He begins by disconnecting you from what cannot go with you. Attachments loosen first, not through conflict, through indifference. That emotional neutrality you're feeling, that's divine detachment. Then comes something deeper, harder to explain, but unmistakable when it happens. You feel like a part of you died, not physically, identity-wise. The version of you who tolerated disrespect, gone. The version who over-explained themselves, gone. The one who kept shrinking to maintain peace, gone. You try to access that old self, but you can't. It's like putting on clothes that no longer fit. The death isn't tragic, it's required. Because God cannot resurrect a future through an identity that belongs to your past. So He allows the old self to dissolve quietly, not with drama, with realization. You simply wake up one day and realize, I can't go back to who I was. That realization marks the crossing of the threshold. Here's another sign. Drama stops affecting you. Situations that once triggered emotional storms now barely move you. People gossip, you disengage. Conflict appears, you observe, not absorb. Opinions come, you filter, not internalize. It's not apathy, it's clarity. You finally see what deserves your emotional energy and what never did. This emotional silence is sacred because it creates space for intuition, space for discernment, space for divine instruction to be heard without interference. And then clarity arrives. Suddenly, without warning, you know your next step. Not logically, spiritually, it might not make sense financially or socially or strategically, but internally, you know. You feel it with certainty that bypasses fear. You don't know step 10, but you know step 1. And that clarity is confirmation, because God never reveals the full blueprint. He reveals the next instruction, step by step. Obedience unlocks visibility, not the other way around. Then you start noticing something external. Doors that once resisted you start responding differently. Opportunities appear without force. People remember you out of nowhere. Messages arrive you didn't initiate. Invitations surface unexpectedly. You start realizing something strange. Effort is no longer the primary force, timing is. And when timing replaces effort, that's divine movement. Because when God decides the wait is over, He moves faster than your years of struggle combined. Your dream world shifts too. You begin dreaming more vividly, not random dreams, symbolic ones, prophetic ones. You wake up remembering details, faces, messages, warnings, confirmations. Dreams become instructional. Because when your conscious mind is too noisy, God uses your unconscious state to communicate. Have you woken up feeling like you received information overnight? That's not imagination, that's preparation. Then come the repetitions, numbers appearing everywhere. 111, 222, 333, 444. Clocks, receipts, license plates, screenshots, over and over. You try to ignore it, but it keeps happening. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmations. Patterns meant to signal alignment. God's way of saying, pay attention, you're entering transition. And above all signs, there's one you can't explain logically. A feeling, heavy but hopeful, like something massive is approaching your life. You can't define it, you can't schedule it, but you feel it in your bones. That sensation isn't anxiety, it's anticipation, your spirit sensing movement before your eyes see it. And if you've been feeling that lately, you're not imagining it, you're detecting acceleration. So let me ask you directly, how many of these signs are you experiencing right now? Detachment, identity death, emotional silence, sudden clarity, doors opening, dream intensification, number repetition, impending shift sensation. If you're experiencing even half of these, you're not in the waiting room anymore. You're in the hallway of transition. And once you enter that hallway, things move fast. But before God gives you what you prayed for, He removes what can't coexist with it. This part is misunderstood, because removal feels like loss until you understand its purpose. Let me prepare you for this, because if you misinterpret removal, you'll try to hold on to what heaven is extracting, and that resistance creates unnecessary suffering. So here's what usually gets removed first. Pain you've carried for years starts dissolving. Memories that once hurt feel distant. Resentments lose emotional charge. You don't need closure anymore because the emotional contract expired internally. That lightness you feel, that's not time healing wounds. That's God lifting emotional weight you no longer need to carry. Then relationships shift. Not always through fights, sometimes through silence. People fade, communication slows, distance grows naturally. You try to revive the connection, but it feels forced. That's because the season expired. God removes misaligned people gently, so you don't confuse elevation with abandonment. Let them drift. Not everyone assigned to your survival is assigned to your elevation. Next comes environment. Jobs that once felt stable start feeling suffocating. Cities feel small. Routines feel repetitive. You feel outgrown before you physically move. That discomfort is divine pressure, God making your current space unbearable so you'll finally leave voluntarily, because comfort delays destiny. Then comes internal removal. Self-doubt weakens, fear loses authority. The voice saying you're not ready gets quieter. You start acting despite fear, speaking despite hesitation, moving despite uncertainty. That courage surge isn't personality change, it's divine interference. God removing internal barriers that once blocked your expansion. There's one more layer of removal that almost nobody talks about. And it's the one that confuses Capricorns the most when it begins. Because it doesn't look like loss, it looks like stillness. Suddenly things slow down, projects stall, plans pause, momentum feels suspended, and your first instinct is panic. You think, did I miss my moment? Did I do something wrong? Why does everything feel frozen again? But this pause isn't delay, it's alignment recalibration. When God removes old weight, He doesn't accelerate immediately. He lets you stabilize first. Because acceleration without stabilization creates collapse. So if things feel quiet right now, don't interpret it as abandonment. Interpret it as preparation for velocity. Think about how storms form. The air gets heavy first, pressure builds, everything goes still. Birds disappear, wind pauses, and then suddenly, movement explodes. That stillness you're in, it's atmospheric pressure before life shift, not absence, accumulation, God gathering momentum on your behalf before releasing it all at once. And when acceleration begins, it doesn't ask permission. It overtakes you. Things that took years resolve in months. Things that took months resolve in weeks. Doors you knocked on repeatedly swing open without effort. You'll look at your life and think, this is happening too fast. And that's how you'll know it's divine. Because human progress is linear, divine progress is exponential. Prayers you whispered years ago start manifesting rapidly. Situations you begged God to fix, resolve, suddenly. Not because He just decided to listen, because now you're prepared to receive. Timing was never about denial, it was about readiness. Then opportunities appear, not random ones, aligned ones, tailored to your skill set, your pain, your history, your endurance. You'll recognize them instantly because they'll feel familiar. Like something you were always meant to step into. That's because while God was preparing you, He was preparing the opportunity simultaneously, both ready at the same moment. Then comes relational shift, but this time not loss, addition. You start meeting people who see you immediately, no proving, no over-explaining, no performing. They recognize your value instinctively, they respect your energy, they reciprocate your effort. After years of pouring into others, you finally meet people who pour back. Divine connections replace karmic ones. And yes, provision begins shifting too. Not always dramatically, sometimes subtly first. Unexpected refunds, delayed payments arriving, opportunities to earn appearing, side income streams forming, pressure easing gradually. Because when God elevates Capricorn, He stabilizes finances alongside purpose. Not as reward, as support for assignment. But the most undeniable sign? Peace. Not because life is perfect, because you finally trust the process. You stop trying to force outcomes, stop obsessing over timelines, stop gripping what's beyond control. You rest internally even while things externally are still unfolding. That peace is confirmation. You're inside divine timing now. Then life starts speaking back to you through synchronicities. You think about someone, they message you. You need information, it appears randomly. You pray about something and overhear the answer hours later. Coincidences multiply until they stop feeling like coincidences. Alignment becomes visible, And something else happens too. Unexpectedly, people from your past reappear, but not to hurt you again, to close loops, to apologize, to acknowledge your growth, sometimes to witness your elevation. Their return isn't reconciliation, it's confirmation of transformation. God letting you see how far you've come. Your discernment sharpens too. You read people instantly, sense intentions immediately, detect dishonesty energetically. That clarity isn't paranoia, it's spiritual sharpening, because elevation requires discernment to protect what God is placing in your hands. But before everything external fully manifests, there's one last internal shift, the deepest one. You stop chasing outcomes, not because you gave up, because you surrendered control. You release the timeline, release the method, release the pressure. You trust that what's yours will arrive without force. That detachment activates flow, because gripping blocks reception. Your thoughts quiet down, overthinking weakens, doubt softens. You don't argue internally anymore, you just know. Calm certainty replaces anxious analysis. And in that silence, God's voice becomes unmistakable. Distractions lose appeal. You become selective with energy, selective with time, selective with attention. You instinctively prioritize what matters without needing external validation. That focus prepares you to steward what's coming. So what's waiting beyond this shift? What did God hold back while preparing you? Let me tell you, not petty validation, divine vindication. People who doubted you will witness your elevation, not because you need their approval, because your story becomes testimony. God vindicates privately endured faithfulness publicly. Losses get restored, sometimes literally, sometimes upgraded. Lost time becomes accelerated productivity. Lost money becomes multiplied provision. Lost relationships become aligned connections. God doesn't replace, He upgrades. You gain voice, platform, reach. People start listening, not because you seek influence, because your endurance commands credibility. Your survival becomes instruction for others. Peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. Peace rooted in trust. Peace rooted in alignment. Peace that remains even during growth. That peace becomes your new baseline. You stop questioning why you're here. Direction becomes obvious. Assignment becomes visible. Legacy becomes intentional. You move with certainty now, not confusion. So if you're watching this right now and something inside you feels different, that's not emotion, that's confirmation. God using this moment to tell you directly, I decided. You've waited long enough. Prepare yourself. Your wait wasn't wasted. You weren't forgotten. You were being finished, strengthened, reinforced, positioned, and now acceleration begins. Write your birth date in the comments and write this declaration. My wait wasn't wasted. Because the moment God decides, everything changes. And Capricorn, if you feel it right now, then you already know. The wait is over. The acceleration begins now.